In this video, I want to talk about something that's going to hold you back in your journey to changing your diet and getting healthier. And that is your pride. Is that quite a interesting thing to hear? So on this channel, I talk about the raw vegan diet and my journey with a raw vegan diet over the last 10 years. And I'm interested specifically in how to help people make changes, long-term changes to their diet and lifestyle that improves their life and their health, and that in a sense helps to improve this world as we go on a journey of more and more people getting back to a raw vegan diet, a fruit-based diet, a fruitarian diet, and have humanity really understand the connection we have with fruit, how that connects us to nature, how that connects us with our past. And that will lead to some profound changes in humanity, absolute profound changes, health wise, in how we deal with the planet, economics, all sorts of things will be improved massively. I'm not going to say it'll be a paradise and all this, but it'll be a huge improvement to life. So I want to talk about um, how your pride holds you back when it comes to diet. Some of the experiences I've had, what I see people do, mistakes people make, and I want to go into that. And I want to talk about specifically the emotion of pride, because it's interesting to me that we have a very big culture now of that we shouldn't shame, right? You shouldn't shame people, and but pride is sort of good, and you even see that within like obviously the gay movement. There's the pride parade, and there's black pride, and there's all sorts of pride towards all these things, and that's a response to some degree to people being held back from expressing themselves, from expressing who they were, and things like that. But I don't know if pride is the right word. That's just kind of honesty, truth, being real, being open. Pride is another level to me as an emotion. And pride is one of those sins. It's like one of those cardinal sins. And we have the phrase, pride comes before a fall. Now, I'm not sure if that's the full phrase or if there's more to it, but it's a commonly known phrase, pride comes before a fall. Part of our culture, certainly in Scotland, maybe in Europe, maybe Christianity, maybe Protestantism, maybe Catholicism, pride, being proud, is something that is seen as not good. Um, there's quite a culture of that. Don't be proud of yourself. Don't be going out boasting about what you do. Don't be going out, that kind of thing. Um, and maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe that leads to people taking that as, don't try in life. Don't go and achieve things. Don't go and because people perceive you as being a bad person just for having achieved things or being successful or whatever. And that can be a bad thing for people because it holds them back from really trying in life and improving in life. And I don't think that's what we're talking about here. Pride, in terms of what holds people back, diet and health wise, is the ideas we have of what we're capable of, and like mistaken ideas of what we're capable of is a big thing that comes up in any kind of addiction, that people think that they can control it and they can change it and they can give it up. And that's a form, I would say, of pride and delusion. Uh, but we have this kind of pride that I'm the kind of person, I'm not like those addicts. Those are different types of people than me. I'm different. Those are different to me people. One of my number one principles in this whole thing is we are more similar than we are different. Human beings are far more similar to each other. So When you see certain types of behavior in people, that's most likely to be in you as well. And we shouldn't really judge people for the way they behave and stuff. We could probably behave like that if we were in their situation. We're far more similar than we want to believe. And this diet stuff has really taught me this. And I know I speak to some people who are in my group, and one of them specifically has said, I think it's different for some people. I think it must have been easier for them. They're just the kind of person that can do this. And it's not true. Like all the people I've met who've done this diet, they struggled with it and had to learn it and took time with it. And it happened over a course of time. And then when they start to teach that information 10 or 20 years later, of course they're very relaxed about it all and it's very easy for them. And it all makes sense to them. But that's after a long period of time. That's a process, a journey, a whole new undertaking, a whole new set of ideas, values, principles, mindset that they developed. That didn't happen overnight. It wasn't something that was inherent in them at birth, you know. This is a natural diet, but we're not in a natural environment. We're not in an environment that supports us with that diet. And actually, what is natural is for us to eat really anything in our surroundings that we judge to be attractive tasting to us, you know, that can keep us alive. So it's natural to go out and eat junk food in a sense, but an environment of junk food isn't the best environment for us or isn't natural for us. So the environment manipulates our basic human nature into acting poorly. So when people come to a festival, they eat better than usual. They're more active than usual. They're more sociable than usual. They're happier than usual. They have better thoughts than usual. It's a better environment for them. It's an environment that brings out a better part of them. And it's the same with anything. If you go to a Toastmasters group, you get around a bunch of people who are positive, going up on stage, speaking, confident, and you start to get up on stage and speak and be more confident. Like you just kind of follow along with the crowd, follow along with the environment. So you go to a gym, you're probably going to get on a treadmill at some point. Like if you just keep going to the gym, you're going to do something because it's just the environment of the gym will make you act that way. And that's a different sort of conversation about environments and creating good environments for yourself. But pride is an interesting emotion. It's something that we kind of are almost encouraged more and more now to wallow in. Like, be proud of yourself. What are you proud of? What have you done to be proud? And it leads to this other side, which is kind of almost like an arrogance that people think that they're capable of doing things that you can't, that they are something they're not, that they know more than they do, and this isn't good. You know, this isn't helpful. And for me personally, the reason that I succeed on this diet and that other people never succeed is that I don't believe I'm in control, and I don't believe that I can, you know, have a bit of cooked food here and there, and I don't believe I can have lots of cooked food around me in my living space, and a lot of things like that. I don't believe I can just have a little bit of salt here and there, and things like that. But a lot of people that have failed to do this diet do believe that they think they can do these things. They think they can give up cooked food. They think that they can um, have cooked food once in a while. If they wanted to do raw, they could. It'd be no problem. And they have a complete delusion as to how difficult this is. A total mistaken idea as to how difficult, and also they have a mistaken idea of the idea that they are in control. And some people hate that idea that they're not in control. It's a very difficult thing, but you're not in control. You have a very powerful emotional system, motivational system, that is capable of completely going against your thoughts, intentions, and ideas and driving you to do things. And if you get into danger, it'll just take over. You won't be able to make a choice. If something, you know, if a wild animal comes in the window or something, it's just going to activate, and you won't be able to make a choice. You'll just be acting. It'll just overwhelm your ability to um, think about it and think about what's best here and all that. Um, if you put your hand on boiling hot surface, your hand's going to come off. Like, you can't just sit there and think about, what am I meant to do here? Your subconscious system is in control of that and will take over and take your hand away. So the idea that your body is not able to get you to eat what it's choosing for you to eat is wrong. And you're in a negotiation, a relationship, a conversation with your body to, over time, change the diet that you're eating. And the idea that you're doing this overnight, straight away, I just don't think it's right. I just don't think many, if any, people do it. And, I just don't think people are that different to each other. And some of you listen to people who are maybe very as I've said things like this before, but you may listen to people that are very scientific, and you think those science people, they just, as soon as they understand the science, they just change. They just heard the science and then they embraced it because they don't have any emotions. They're a scientific person. It's not true, right? People present themselves like that, but we're all ultimately human beings, and people make decisions emotionally more than they do rationally. And the same thing, you might see sports people, you think they're so disciplined or whatever. Listen, this kind of discipline is not in people. It's not in people. You think, well, that person can run a marathon, so it must be easy for them to change their diet. It's just not true. We've seen it again and again. Look at a guy like Durian Rider, who was a major high level cyclist, very incredibly accomplished fitness wise. He couldn't stick to this diet. He did it at a period of time, but he wasn't able to stick to it. And Michael Arnstein was an ultramarathon runner. I don't think he stuck to it. I don't know. I don't exactly know what these guys do, but I don't think they were able to stick to a fully raw vegan diet long term. And I don't know if they did it as long as I've done it, you know. And I've looked up to some of these guys, but I don't think they went through the whole journey, truly, and got to a point where they were really doing it sustainably. I don't know. Um, there's so many sports people. Sports people in general are like terrible diet wise. In fact, they're almost proud of how unhealthy they are. That's the other aspect of pride. People are kind of proud about their lack of health, or proud about, like, I don't need to worry about this. I don't care about this. Listen, it is not something to play around with, your health, and thinking you're indestructible and thinking this is so stupid, so dumb. Your health can vanish in such a short period of time. It is unbelievable. So doing anything that's putting you in the potential of harm's way when it comes to your health is really, really risky, can be really devastating. And I'm telling you, small errors can lead to absolutely devastating effects for the rest of your life. You will not believe it. Small changes. A friend of ours put up a post a couple of days ago. He's been dealing with chronic pain for years now. He's a young guy, his life ahead of him. He made the decision to get a dental implant done in another country to save money. Something went wrong, and he is now potentially going to be in this chronic pain the rest of his life as a result of that. I hope he can find a way that this goes away. But this is a nightmare, you know. And some of you question sometimes, why am I sometimes quite, I can maybe come across as vicious with some of my information, or like, like this person is, well, like I think this information is bad, or this is wrong, or this is whatever. You might think, why would I be so like that? Because I understand how devastating it is to people, how utterly devastating it can be to people to get one wrong piece of information, to make one error in judgment. And this man was kind of talking about, he's not really sure how he's going to live his life going forward, because like it's hard for him to, have the life that he envisioned having now. And it's the same with a lot of things. It's the same with a lot of small misjudgments, small. So people think that these things that people say are just small things and it doesn't matter. No, I'm careful with what I'm saying. I'm very careful because I understand the situation here. So, like me saying to you, "Oh yeah, you can do this overnight." Loads of people have done that. No, it's not true. It's just not true. And you might think it's arrogant if you say I'm going to do this and that, and I say that's not going to work. You might think that's arrogant. It's from experience. It's just purely from experience. And I'm telling you, I try and help. Most of the people that I've coached have at some point said like they want to they want to be 100% raw vegan most of the time, and often they already are to some degree, and they keep on saying to me stuff like, yeah, I don't have any desire to eat cooked food, no cravings at all, and blah blah blah. And then they go back and eat cooked food at some point, and you're like, I was trying to tell you. Like I was trying to tell you all along, like you can't have one piece of cooked food and think that you can just have that and then the next day you go back to being raw. It does not. It honestly, it's such small things that change you. You need to understand yourself on a deeper level. And that pride will come in and say, you can have a piece of cooked food. You've done raw for 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, or whatever. You can have some cooked food and you'll be right back to raw the next day. And you think that sounds good, and everyone around you says, that sounds right. Whereas the raw food person like me goes, you can't do that. And you say, that's arrogant. How do you know what I can do and not? It's not arrogance, it's wisdom, it's knowledge, it's experience. You can't go about saying, I just think I can maybe have a cooked food meal and I'll stick to raw the next day. It never happens. It never happens. You're going to do it anyway. Some of you are in that place where you've been raw for a week or whatever, and you're starting to have those thoughts like, yeah, I can have some cooked food, I'll go back to raw the next day. You're totally forgetting what cooked food is. It controlled your life for 20, 30, 40 years. You had to have it every single day. There was not a day you went without it, without cooked food. There was not a day in your earlier life. And even when you learned about raw and all that, you could not go a day without it for a long period of time. And now you've done 30 days and you think, I can have it once. It's not really what you mean either. You actually want to just keep on having it after that. You want to eat it and think and feel great. And be like, oh, I can do this. I can just eat cooked food. It's the same thing. Great. It's not the same thing. And I know someone I know has been on a streak of going raw, and they're going to go off raw on Christmas Day, which is, that's fine if you want to just you just want to experiment with raw for a while. But I kind of know what happens when you've been raw for a while and then you have cooked food. And it's not a great way of enjoying a day, right? And I kind of don't want to be too like if that's what a person wants to do, that's fine. But to me, if you want to have a day of eating cooked food, you have to prepare for that by starting eating cooked food in advance. Because the first time you're going to eat cooked food, you're going to be so you're going to be amazed at how much it affects you, and you're going to think something the raw food did something. No, this is how it's always affected you. That 30 days of raw just made you forget. It made you realize what you should feel like after food, specifically when you eat fruit and there's like no so small discernible difference in your digestion and your mindset and everything. If you've been under carb, there is a difference, but it's so gentle. It's not bing, it's not coffee, sugar. It's like, oh wow, 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, now I feel my mood has raised. I didn't even realize it. It was so imperceptible. Wow, so perfect. Um, so you have that cooked food once, man, you're not going to enjoy the rest of the day. You're not going to enjoy the rest of the next few hours. You're not going to be yourself. It's not good. And it's how people are feel like every time they eat cooked food, it's just normal to them. Um, I just don't want cooked food to get in the way anymore. So pride is a sin, and what does that mean? It just means that your belief, I guess, about how great you are, how much you can do, how much you're different to everyone else, and all that, it trips you up. It trips you up in life. It makes you think, I can do this, I can do that. This is easy. I yeah, they say you can't just do this and that, but I'll do it. I'll just do it overnight. I always say to people, do it one step at a time. Very few people ever follow it. Um, most people I work with try and go raw straight away all the time. Always try and go raw, and I guess they want to see that they can do it. And I did the same thing because I just wanted to see if I could go raw and what would happen, and you know. Um, but eventually, I started to think, no, I need to like inch towards the swimming pool, the diving board, like inch toward. Like you think, oh, the best thing is to run and jump off. Um, but like you run and jump off, and you've got all this like seaweed and netting attached to you. So you jump off, you get into the swimming pool, but all this stuff's trying to pull you back out again. And you should just gradually pull all that stuff off one at a time. Coffee, take that away. Right, sugar, get that off. Right, that, and you inch towards the end of the thing. Um, the idea being that when you come off raw, because if you don't do through this process of taking these other things out of your diet, then when you come off raw, you go back to everything. You don't go back. You go back to the baseline that you were at. You have to change the baseline, and don't be. And people have a kind of pride that their baseline isn't what it is. If you're eating everything in the last week, everything is your baseline. It doesn't matter what you think in your head, like, I did raw in the past, I did vegan in the past, I know I can do that. But that's not where you're at right now. Where are you at right now? If you're overweight, overweight is your baseline. Eating too much is your baseline. So it doesn't matter you used to be skinny. You need to start with right now. And you might think, I'm better than this. I've been raw in the past. I've done all this. I understand this. You don't really, though. Get over that. You need to start right now with where you're at right now. It's really boring, by the way. Really boring and practical stuff. Everything is. Everything's like, everyone likes the great dream, and then the practical day to day is like so boring and small. But when you get into the rhythm of it, you start to see the results. It gets exciting and motivating, and then you just get into the rhythm. And life is about getting into the rhythm, of something, and then then the rhythm starts to carry you. It's the momentum, the rhythm of it. When you get around other people that are already in the rhythm, and then you can get into their rhythm a little bit. But it's a laborious process to some degree. So I've put a program together. I'm starting to help people with it in a group session online. I want to do a group session in Glasgow in real life as well. I want to start doing that, and I'm putting plans together for that. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video.